Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. This Saturday morning, it is a beautiful day. We're excited for today. Good morning, Tucson, Radio Land, all those that are listening, even those that listens to the Fresh Start podcast and on the YouTube channel. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are pumped up. We are ready. Let's go. This is Fresh Start with Dr. Holt, and let me tell you, every Saturday morning we're here at 7:30 a.m. with 106 The Groove and 10:30 with The Voice. And we are excited about today. So go ahead and get your favorite breakfast on today, whether if it's pancakes, waffles, or gravy and biscuits and grits, or whatever you want, and get your fresh cup of coffee because you are listening to the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt. Yes, it's that time. It's time to talk about the issues that we see far as in our justice system and far as with individuals who've been formerly incarcerated. That's what this show is about. It is to talk about the issues, talk about the struggles, talk about the difficulties, talk about the obstacles of what it's like being incarcerated in America's jails and in America's prisons. Listen, you know it. Whether you was formerly incarcerated or whether you have a family member or a community member or a church member that's been in jail or incarcerated in any of the state and federal prisons, listen, we know in this country, if you have been convicted with a felony, it's going to be problems for you. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to have adversity and obstacles. And yes, sometimes even people close the door right in your face in regards to opportunities. But listen to this. Be encouraged because that sometimes your felony may create a delay, but it certainly doesn't mean it's a denial. Let me say that again. It may create delays, but be encouraged, my sister. Be encouraged, my brother. It just because it's delayed doesn't necessarily mean all your future, all your destiny and opportunities have been denied. Listen, this is the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt. I'm pleased to be back with you every Saturday. We're here every Saturday at 7:30. Please continue to keep tuning in and support the show. And I love to get the feedback. I really hope that the genre, the specialty of our show of dealing with real reform and dealing with the struggles that formerly incarcerated people go through is really hitting home and really hitting the target. So thank you again for your support of supporting Fresh Start. This has been a vision of mine. I'm the founder of Fresh Start International. I'm the visionary and brainchild of the big, huge re-entry event called the Fresh Start Expo. Every year we bring the whole city down to the Tucson Convention Center to help the formerly incarcerated, people that's been incarcerated, people that have outstanding warrants, and people who have a felony background where they're having a difficult time getting on their feet, getting a job, getting housing. This is why we have Fresh Start. Fresh Start is here not just to be a whole lot about talking. Fresh Start here is to be a whole lot about walking it out. And so we're here, and our vision is, as our mission statement says, where everyone gets a new beginning. We believe everyone deserves a new beginning, regardless of what you've done, regardless of what you've done in the past. If you paid your debt to society, you deserve a new beginning. We know in this country, even in the state of Arizona, when you get a felony, not only is it difficult to move on with your life and to rebuild your life, but we also know a felony is like having a life sentence. Even if you did 6 years in prison, you have a felony, you're paying the rest of your life with that felony background. If you did 10 years in prison, if you did 20 years in prison, if you did 30 years in prison, after you pay your debt to society, I bet you some think that once I pay my debt to society, it's all over. I'm good. Once I'm out of prison, I can go back to doing what I want to do. Bad news. Stop the press. Let me tell you the real deal. It doesn't go that way. Even if you spent 30 and 40 years in prison, if you have a felony background, it doesn't stop when you walk out of prison. that history, that felony follows felons, whether you're a male or female, whether you're a man or you're a woman. That felony follows you for the rest of your life. And that is not fair. There is something called restorative justice, which simply means that even when you have violated a crime, violated a law, committed a crime, and even have harmed a relationship, there should be a way to where you navigate by repairing the breach of the brokenness of the relationship, the violation of the law, pay your debt to society, and once you're done with all of that, you can rebound from your setbacks and you can get back on your feet. Right now, we have people with felonies having a difficult time to get homes, get a house, or get an apartment. We have people with felonies having a difficult time to get a good paying job with benefits, or because of the criminal background, sometimes you don't even get federal and government clearances, or a fingerprint card in the state of Arizona, so you can have access to have a good job. So there's so many barriers and setbacks of why we talk about what we talk about. This is what make Fresh Start Show different, because we talk about the real issues in the justice system, certainly if in the formerly incarcerated struggles. That's why I wanted to have this show, so that we just don't do the work on the outside, but we speak into the issues on the inside with the show. This show is the bully pulpit for people who have wrongly been convicted. This is the bully pulpit of those who have even justly been convicted, but yet still can't build back on their life. And so that's why we are here, to speak into the issues, to be a pulpit, to be a voice, to those who've been looked over, those who've been left out, have been kicked down, knocked down, slapped down because of their past. No one should be judged forever because of their past. If they're making an effort to change their life, if they're making an effort to catapult their life, if they are making an effort to go to the next level in their life, then let me tell you, brothers and sisters, we need to give people a chance. So on today, our episode, again, this is a show, Fresh Start Show is a show for justice reform, mental health, and the struggles that formerly incarcerated individuals have, and incarcerated and formerly incarcerated individuals have. This is what this show is about, and we speak into the issues. We don't want people walking around with their head down because they made a bad mistake, they made a bad choice, they have been labeled as a criminal. No, pick your head up. Pick your head up. And thank God, God has given you another day, and you can make something special out of your life. Okay. So today our show is going to be about, as we talk about justice reform, I wanted to spend a little time on bail reform, and I think this is really big. And so I'm probably going to use a few episodes to talk about this, but bail reform is needed. And bail reform is certainly essential. And bail reform needs to take place right now. We know that when individuals is arrested because of a charge, and they're held in our county jails waiting on their trials. But I think a lot of times we don't realize that when we arrest people and they're sitting in jail, especially for minor crimes. Certainly, I'm not talking about extremely dangerous crimes. I'm not talking about something like armed robbery or sexual assault or murder. But what I am talking about is we have a lot of people that are sitting in our county jails for minor misdemeanor crimes. And a lot of people, and I think in our society, don't take into account that sometimes the justice system is not only creating hardships, but it is creating homelessness, and it's creating joblessness. And the reason why I say that is because if you're arrested and you don't have the money to bail out, the 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be stuck in the county jail, not being able to bail out. And so if you have a job and if you have a home, And if you have a few vehicles, guess what? I know it don't take a rocket scientist, but let me tell you, it takes some money to maintain all the items I just said. It takes income to keep a roof over you and your family's head. It keeps income for you to keep driving the car that you have. All those things putting food on the table. Well, what happens when you get arrested for a minor crime and you don't have the money to bail yourself out? Guess what? You sit in that jail cell rotting day after day for months on months. And just sitting there. Well, what happens? Well, if you sit in jail, can you? If you're not on this special work program, you're sitting in that jail and you're gonna lose your job. Your supervisor's only gonna allow you to miss so many days, and you lose your job. Well, what's important about the job? The job is how you generate income to provide for your family and keep a roof over your head. Well, if you lose income, you won't be able to secure your home. And 9 out of 10, what happens? A lot of people begin to go into homelessness because they get evicted, they lose their home, the family lose a place to stay. As a result, it's a ripple effect. You begin to lose your car, and all these different things that comes from sitting in jail. And so I was reading some data in regards to this, and it said 14 billion reasons why we need bail reform. Most Americans do not fully understand the pretrial portion of our justice system. While many know you are presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, most don't realize that hundreds of thousands of those that are incarcerated in our county jails are too poor to bail out. It says, according to the Pretrial Justice Institute, nearly 750,000 people are held in our nation's jails on a daily basis. Think about that. And 2/3 of these people have not been convicted of a crime. Taxpayers spend approximately $38 million per day and $14 billion annually to house citizens waiting for trials who are mostly low risk. Let me say that again, that are mostly low risk. Pretrial inmates account for 95% of jail growth from year 2000 to 2014, according to pretrial justice reports. And how much does this cost? Why are so many Americans sitting in jail without a conviction? According to a report on the economic well-being of U.S. households by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, nearly half of Americans cannot afford bail. Posting the $5,000 bail for a DUI, whether by using cash or a bondsman, is simply not possible. Simply or consequently, poor and working class people are held in custody while they wait for trial. As a result, they have limited hours in which they can meet with their attorney, assuming jobs, failing behind in rent or mortgage, and negatively family consequences due to stress. So I was just alluding to that. So if you are arrested and you have a job, you have a house, you have a home, and you have a family, and you have cars, and you have financial responsibilities, how can you go to work and provide if you're sitting in jail for 2 months? How can you provide for your family if you're sitting in jail for 3 months? How can you provide and keep a roof over your family's head and pay rent and pay mortgage, or keep the car without getting repossessed if you're sitting in jail not creating any income? And this is what we're talking about. There are maladaptive ramifications that come from sitting and rotting in county jails. Again, we're not talking about the menace to society. We're not talking about the high risk of crime in our communities. We're talking about low-level, non-violent misdemeanor crimes where people are sitting in jail and they are losing everything they worked hard for. It says, on the other hand, the wealthier members of the community are able to bail out. They're able to go back to work, be with their family, strategize with their attorney prior to making any significant decisions regarding their case. In other words, what the data was saying, the more poor you were, the more your situation would worsen and be exacerbated, and you would be more likely to sit in jail and reverse all of the things you worked hard for. You will begin to lose because you can't provide, you can't create income, you lose your job, and as a result, losing your job, you lose your home, you lose your car, you lose all those different things. But on the other hand, wealthy people who has the financial resource that can easily get bailed out, still keep their job, still keep their home, still keep everything they worked hard for. Now, that's just general Americans that is suffering from social economic challenges. This still doesn't speak into the communities of color, because we know even in this county alone, African Americans make up about 4 or 5% in population, and yet we are overrepresented by 10 to 12% in our county jails. So we also have disparities. So we do speak into the poor communities that get the bad end of the stick in the justice system, but we still don't talk about also as well how communities of color, like how we incarcerate more black and brown individuals in our country than any other ethnicity in the world. So we also have to speak into the inequities and the inequalities of African Americans and Latino communities in representation in our justice system. But it also goes on to speak and says, why do we keep people in jail if they haven't been convicted? In most cases, when a person is charged with a non-capital offense, the presumption is that the accused can be released on their personal situation during the pretrial phase. Typically, the judge will set pretrial conditions of release only where it is interest of securing the defendant's appearance in court, protect the community from the violent crime, and prevent any obstruction of justice. These conditions do not violate the Fourth Amendment so long as they are legitimately related to the objective. But I think what we're trying to say is that in some sense we understand it's legal and it's the right thing to do, but everything is not cut white and black. There are some gray areas. There are some extra interpretations that we need to consider in regards to legislation and policy. And that is where it's not working, we need to improve it. To keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, we call that insanity. It is insane to have individuals sitting in jail for a minor, a misdemeanor, non-violent crime without a way to get out and still maintain themselves and maintain their families. We're not saying don't consequence. We're not saying we don't hold people accountable for violating the law. That's not what we're saying. But we are saying that everything is not cut black and white and it's just as simple. There are some gray areas that should integrate places of interpretation where it makes sense when it comes to not just being hard on crime, but being smart on crime. I think when we come to talking about bail reform, it's more about being smart on crime. Again, this is not saying we just allow individuals to get away from breaking the law. This is not saying that we allow people to commit a crime and there's no level of consequence. All we're saying is that we need to bring some equity. Because we know that if you have a lot of money, or we know that you are white and privileged, your situations and your outcomes is going to be better for those who are poor and those who are from communities of color. And so we have to look at much more opportunities in regards to a balance in what we're seeing in our justice system. We need to create more opportunities, even in our county jails, for offenders who sit in jail to better themselves and not just to incarcerate, but to educate and to habilitate and rehabilitate. I know in prison we call it Department of Corrections, but the question is, what are you correcting? What are you fixing? What are you repairing? A lot of our inmates that come out of jail or prison are not prepared to have skills to be able to restart their lives, which has a number which contributes to recidivism, where people go feel like the only place that they can go back to of a familiarity is to go back to jail and go to prison, and that's not how people should think. So today I just wanted to spend some time as an episode to talk about the issues when we talk about reform. Is bail reform? Do Arizona need bail reform? Yes. Do we need it in our community? Yes. We need to help people who have made bad choices to get back on their feet, learn from their mistake, get back on their feet, and come out with a promising future. So I want you to put the pressure on your city council and put the pressure on your legislator and in the House and your state Senate to make sure that we're passing comprehensive laws and laws that make sense in regards to bail reform. Also, continue to keep having those conversations with your judge and have conversations with our Arizona Supreme Court so that we can make sure that we can change some of the policies and some of the administrative codes to make sure we have just bail reform. Well, listen, we only have a few moments and minutes left in our show. Again, want to thank you for being a part of the Fresh Start Show. We're here every Saturday morning at 7:30 on the 106 The Groove, and we're here. If you can't catch us because we're too early and you need a few more hours of sleep, you can catch us at 10:30 at The Voice at 10:30 a.m. so you can as well continue to hear this show. Listen, this is what we're here. We're here to be the pulpit, be the bullying pulpit, to speak truth to power, to bring encouragement to those who have been in prison, have been in jail, and feel like their life is over. Let me tell you, it's not over. You may have a few delays, but it is not an absolute deny. So be encouraged, pick your head up, shake yourself off, and just know that you still have an opportunity to get your life together, and there are many resources out there for you to do so. Listen, there's a big announcement for the Pima County Sheriff's Department. The Pima County Sheriff's Department on April 14th, which will be next weekend on Saturday from 12 noon to 4 p.m. We will be at the Tucson Baptist Church. So we want you... May. It'll be on May 14th at the Tucson Baptist Church from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So please feel free to join us. It is the Pima County Sheriff Justice Forum. It's where our board, the Pima County Sheriff's Civilian Advisory Review Board, will be there. And what we want to do is expose the board to the community, allow the board and community and police to come together like we should be. So join us, meet us there, beat us there again at the Pima County Sheriff's Community Forum at the Tucson Baptist Church. That will be on Saturday, May 14th from 12 to 4 p.m. So join us. Tucson Baptist Church is on Columbus at the corner of 22nd Street. So it's right next door to Robert Naylor School. So join us. We're looking forward to having a great time. Also remember that we will be having our Fresh Start Expo October 22nd on a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Tucson Convention Center. We're bringing all our courts, city courts, justice courts, superior courts, juvenile courts. We're going to have a job fair for those who have felony backgrounds. All that's going to go down at the Tucson Convention Center. It's our one-stop shop to help people get back on their feet. So make sure you get down there. We're announcing it early. We won't triple the numbers that we have, because there's so many people that need some help. We're going to help you to get your rights restored. We're going to help you get your conviction set aside. We're going to help you to get your marijuana conviction expunged. We're going to help people with courts and fees. We're going to help people that have outstanding warrants. Our city courts is going to be there. Our justice courts is going to be there. We're going to help people get back on their feet. That's what we all about. So please join us. Meet it there and beat it there. So listen, I'm out of time. Thank you for joining us with the Fresh Start Show on this Saturday morning. Look forward to seeing you next week at 7:30. Take care. God bless.